Is Thursday, March 5th, 2020, 5:30. This is the Rules, Confirmation, and Public Elections Committee. We have a quorum, so let's start with someone with impeccable timing. RS 2020-227, Van Rees, Vircher, and others honors Thomas Seeley for his 39 years of service to the office of the Davidson County Register of Deeds.
Motion. Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
This guy has served our community for a very long time. He's retired, lives in District 8. We wanted to make sure to honor him. So.
Thank you. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
RS 2020-228, Hurt Syracuse and others recognize the 100th anniversary of Old Negro Leagues baseball. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? Oh, wait, we have an amendment. A late filed amendment. Do you know anything about the amendment?
It corrects, it says, the original resolution, I believe, says that there is one museum. There's actually two.
Oh, okay. It changes the world's only museum to one of the two museums dedicated to preserving. Okay.
Motion on the amendment. Oh, no, or we just, yes, we're doing both.
We have to vote on the amendment.
Yes.
Does anybody have a problem with this late filed technical change? Okay. Is there a motion on the amendment?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion on the resolution as amended? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have RS 2020-229, Swaro Withers and others recognizes 10 years of the Nashville After Zone Alliance, NASA. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to go on record as saying this is a great program. My daughter did it. It's helped a lot of kids in the county, and just congratulate them for a job well done.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. RS 2020-230, Vircher recognizes the 60th anniversary of the Nashville sit-ins. Is there another sponsor in the room? Let's roll as the heel. Actually, make sure there's not a letter in here. It doesn't indicate there is.
I mean, I'd sign on to that.
I would sign on to it. Is it possible? If so,
If somebody
Yeah, I'll sign
on and grab it real quick, or text somebody to ask them to bring it or something like that. We can do it at the end. We have RS 2020-231 Glover recognizes March 28th, 2020 as Box 55 Day in Nashville, and we have a letter from the sponsor. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second? I'll second it. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Thank you. RS 2020-232, Porterfield, Withers, and others recognizes March 2nd, 2020 as Read Across America Day in Metro Nashville.
Motion.
Second.
All right. I'm a sponsor. I'm sure several of y'all are too. Any discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah.
All right. We just finished with you, Council Lady.
Did I get deferred?
No, I'm on the bill.
Oh, great, thanks.
You're good.
All right.
Very efficient.
See you later.
We have a late filed resolution from Councilmember Syracuse, a resolution amending BL 2018-1267 to remove Section 4, which conditioned the abandonment of the right-of-way on the construction, dedication, and acceptance of the new Hammerhead turnaround. First, can you tell us why it's late filed and why it's an emergency, please?
Sure. So this is my first time ever having to do this. It is because of the timing of the loan that needs to close in order for this project to occur. So the language in the original abandonment of that right-of-way made it contingent on the completion of the project, but the lender really wants it to be done now in order to secure the loan. So it's a great project for Donaldson. It helps the church out next door with an additional parking lot, a new signal infrastructure. So this little technicality, I don't want it to slow down the project. So
I'm okay.
asking for your support.
There's also a letter here from somebody explaining the loan issue, and anybody have an issue? No. Okay, good. Well, there's the motion. Is there a motion on the resolution?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Very much.
Another late filed resolution, Stiles and Hall, a resolution condemning predatory practices in the wake of the devastating tornado that impacted many residents and businesses in Nashville on March 30, 2020. I think we know why it's an emergency and why it wasn't here before the filing deadline. Anybody have a problem?
I think we should have it passed around on the council, or all voting in favor be added as co-sponsors on the floor.
Let's pass it around. Would you mind, well, first of all, is there a motion?
Motion.
Okay. Would you mind explaining?
Sure.
Thank you.
So since the tornado took place this week, of course, people are in the midst of dealing with tremendous personal tragedy. And what people have experienced are people coming to the house and saying, oh, if you decide that you don't want to build, I'll be back with supplies for regular, like, toiletries and such, but I'd also like to give you a cash offer on your house or your land. Right.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely inappropriate.
And
Move for approval.
the resolution pretty much just says we're going on record condemning any and all predatory practices in the wake of the devastating tornado that impacted many residents and businesses, same as the caption. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you. We have a late filed ordinance, an ordinance authorizing CVA Inc. to install, construct, and maintain underground encroachments in the right-of-way located at 1100 Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard. Why is this late filed?
So you'll notice on your agenda, there's I don't know, 4 or 5 of these, and so they all need to go together. And so it was, somehow this one just didn't get in the packet of the other ones, and it's best for them to just travel together since they're all virtually the same thing. They're all underground encroachments for the same kind of project and project area.
Thank you. Okay, everybody good?
Good.
Is there a motion?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great.
So
We still got you. We actually have yours in here.
No, the sit-ins, I actually am on that
Oh,
bill, so.
perfect. All right, well, let's jump back to RS 2020-230, Virtue and Styles recognize the 60th anniversary of the Nashville sit-ins. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Beautiful. Okay, and we have a late filed amendment to BL 2020-197 from Styles, an ordinance declaring a 120-day moratorium upon the issuance of building and grading permits for multifamily developments on property within Metro Council Districts 28, 29, and 32 of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County. Would you mind explaining the amendment and why it's an emergency, please?
Sure. So this bill it's deemed so developers have to wait 120 days before they could put in for a permit. And the intention is for a study to be done in the southeast in those 3 districts to be sure if it's a good idea to issue these permits. The reason why it is late filed as it is, I had absolutely no idea that the bill had been filed in the first place, and it contains my district. So I will be removing my district from the bill.
Gotcha.
And you plan on amending it, or you plan on bumping it from first reading and amending it then?
Correct. And I needed to come here first.
Gotcha. So it's on first reading tonight?
Yes, yes.
Got it. Okay, thank you. All right, anybody have any concerns? Okay. It's been referred to
I'm
us,
good
so
with it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Oh, my goodness, okay. We've never had this much legislation. Would somebody mind pinging Councilman O'Connell and tell him that he's got a bill in here, please?
Sure.
let's roll that one and go on to elections and confirmations. First up is the Arts Commission, the reappointment of Ms. Nikki Kaufman for a term expiring January 1st, 2024. Ms. Kaufman is dealing with the effects of the tornado and has requested deferral to next meeting.
Motion to defer to March 17th.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The Employee Benefits Study and thank you. Employee Benefits Studying and Formulating Committee, the appointment of Mr. Richard Chapman. It does not say, I guess there's no time. Mr. Chapman. Right, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good. Would you mind talking a little bit about yourself and your interest in the committee?
I've worked for 35 years for the state government. Last 25 years of that, I helped run the health and life insurance program for state employees, and another plan we run for school districts, and a third plan we run for local governments. I know several people who work for the Metro government. I know they've had an interesting time. I'm retired. I have a pretty good idea of what this group does because I've actually read one of their reports quite some time ago, but this is a group that basically reviews the benefits or benefit proposals that are submitted by any number of people to make suggestions on whether to do them or not. It's more of a group that basically provides some professional advice.
Right.
At least that's my understanding. I haven't sat on this before, so that.
Good deal. Thank you. Any questions, Councilor?
Hello, thank you for being here. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked others that were in front of us the other day. Over the last 30 years, we've seen some trends in our county. The cost of benefits has slowly shifted from the employer to the employee, especially in the private sector, but also in the public sector. At the same time, wages have stagnated and income inequality has grown. What are your thoughts on the employer's role in providing high-quality benefits to its employees?
My position has been you've got to make the coverage affordable. In the state government, we paid 80% of the individual coverage for health insurance, 80% for family coverage to make it affordable for all of the employees. I understand the wage growth and those kind of things, and we, like everybody else, couldn't avoid increasing the premiums because the cost of providing coverage was increasing. Part of that is just increasing costs. Part of that is increasing technology. Part of that is an aging workforce. All of those things contribute. I think the employer has to maintain a contribution level that is affordable to the employees as best it can. I mean, the council goes through the balance of how do we allot money that's available to the government. The mayor makes that proposal, but you guys basically act on it. It's a tough balancing act because one of the things you can do, shrink the networks to increase the discounts that are available through the networks. That may or may not be a good idea. With a plan as localized as here, that might be a little easier because people don't have to travel quite as great a distance in rural areas. But I have maintained that you got to make the coverage affordable. You have to have an adequate network so that employees feel that they can access health care. I don't think you can pass all of the increasing expenses onto the employees.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor?
How important is it to you as a member of this committee, if confirmed, will it be to find ways to protect and preserve both current and future employee, their pension, retiree, and health benefits?
For retirees, if you don't adequately fund the retirement benefit you offer to them, you're basically not providing a benefit to them. For retirees, if you don't offer a health insurance benefit that prior to Medicare takes care of their needs as well as it does for the workforce, you don't allow them to retire because the health care would be too expensive. For post-Medicare retirees, I think there's a number of things you can do there. And quite honestly, I don't know the exact structure of Metro now. If I remember correctly, Metro allows retirees to continue in the general plan and use that as basically a Medicare supplement plan. So Medicare would pay first, the general plan would pay second. I don't know if the premiums charged to retirees are any different in total when compared to the employees. But I can assure you, because I've looked at numbers, the retirees are a lot more expensive simply because they're older and they have more dramatic health conditions.
Right, so what I'm hearing you say is basically a very, very kind of equation piece and kind of the actuarial, if you want to, piece of things. But as I guess I'm asking about your value and your value system. Is it important to you that we maintain the benefits that we currently have for our Metro retirees? Or do you think that Metro should shift some of that financial burden off of Metro and onto our retirees?
For pre-Medicare retirees, I think you've got to maintain the benefit for those folks. A number of employers, including the state government, have done different things for post-Medicare retirees. Quite honestly, that's a decision to be made by the benefit board and the Metro Council.
But you'll be on a committee making recommendations to us.
Yes.
And do you morally feel that we should be taking care of our employees at the rate that we are now, or better, or shifting more burden off of them? Because what I'm hearing from you is what makes fiscal sense rather than
No.
what your where your moral stance is on it.
Well, I can assure you, for example, for 25 years or so, I argued the point that we got to stay at 80%. That's a macro sense. But at the same time, you have to look at how much money the employer can put in. And you might have to, I don't ever want to move off of the percentage sharing of the premium, because that's the biggest piece that everybody pays. Then you have to worry about the 5 or 10% of the folks that are the major contributors to the cost of the plan. The expenses are shared by everybody, but the benefits are really focused on about 5% of the folks. I think I want to be careful in answering the question, because in 1985, I made a recommendation that the state go into the Medicare supplement business for retirees who are Medicare eligible and out of the full benefit package. And we looked at what the premiums would be balanced against what the benefits would be and how that would be shared by everybody. And the state made a decision to shift that. And I was part of that. But that's after a study of it, a review of how the premiums compare with the benefits that are available to the people who are impacted, and how that works in general.
Okay.
And I think that's the balance you have to look at. I mean, you're asking me to almost make a binary decision.
Well, no, not necessarily. Just, I guess, my point of view is, and my position is that at some point, yes, it does cost Metro more to continue our benefits for our retirees.
Yes.
And those are employees that have made Nashville what Nashville is today. And the future retirees are the ones who are pulling 12-hour shifts on and off right now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I want to make sure that even if that means that I'm paying more taxes or my constituents are paying more taxes, my point is that we have to take care of the people who work for Nashville and keep our lights running, keep our trash getting picked up, who fight our fires, who perform emergency medical services and that kind of thing. So I just want to really, good, because I just want to really impress upon you that I think a lot of the council's position too is that at the end of the day, we don't want to see a burden put onto our retirees or a promise change to our retirees, because we've already done that to our current employees about their pay benefits.
Right.
And I was morally disgusted by that. And I want to hope that and just impress, because I wasn't at the last rules meeting to impress this upon the last the other members going on this committee, that at least for Kathleen Murphy, speaking for myself, and hoping that you'll carry it on
Right.
very strongly, if it comes down to having to vote to put more burden on our retirees, that's when Metro has lost its moral compass. So I'll defer my soapbox.
I have one question.
Thank you, Councilmember.
So my question is very much in line with what Councilmember Murphy was asking. In being on this committee, are you committed to seeking the input of the unions, employees in the unions, and getting their feedback and
Yes.
making decisions?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you got to listen. I mean, you got to take input from everybody. I know the one report that I read out of this group seemed to be driven heavily by the finance director at the time. And I think you have to be careful of letting that be too much weight. I mean, you have to consider that, but that's part of the equation.
Would you make it a priority not only to meet with the unions, but also our Metro employees?
Well, the unions, in part,
Yeah. I
represent.
know. But hearing firsthand experiences that our Metro employees are going through from our Metro.
I think that group should meet with them in general. When you ask me personally, I'm not sure that I should be treated any differently than the other 4 members of this body. So I think the body should make themselves available. I know the one report I read had comments from the unions. I don't remember if there were individual letters from individual employees about any of the proposals. But I think you got to seek everybody's input on these kind of things because it impacts everybody.
I move for approval for, no one else says anything.
Anybody else? Any further discussion? Okay. Is there a second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank
And you get
We'll
free
see you
parking
next,
on Metro.
No,
You
there
are?
was an accident down here and everything was backed up. It took me 45 minutes to get from TSU to the backside of the sheriff's office. So I'm parked in a lot and I'm fine.
Okay, well, thank you. We appreciate your contribution.
Real quick, with indulgence, let's do BL 2020-189, O'Connell and Allen name certain facilities at Howard Office Building in honor of Charlie Cardwell. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion?
I have a request that this one also get passed around for co-sponsorship on the floor.
All for it. And I believe we'll have some representatives up here on third reading, so I think this is just, it is a very good suggestion from our folks that are constitutional officers.
Great. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
I think I had a late
took
file.
care of it.
Oh, you did? Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, we have the Sports Authority, the appointment of Mr. Melvin Gill for a term expiring December 19th, 2023. Mr. Gill will fill the unexpired term of Ms. Katana Starks. Mr. Gill, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good, thank you. Would you mind introducing yourself and talk a little bit about your interest in the Sports Authority?
My name is Melvin Gill. I'm an architect. I have previously worked on condition assessments for the sports facilities. What year? I don't know. It's been 10, 15 years ago. So I am fairly familiar with at least Nissan Stadium and Bridgestone Arena. I do have an interest in the Sports Authority. I see it as an opportunity to fulfill part of my responsibility, civic responsibility to Metropolitan Nashville and Davidson County. And I'm looking forward to being a productive part of the committee. Commission.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
You mentioned you were familiar with Nissan Stadium. That's probably through, I'd say, 2/3 of its life right now, right? If a stadium has a 30-year lifespan. But I'd be interested in your thoughts.
What year was it completed?
So I think it was, 98, right? 98, 99? Yeah.
It's been a while.
So it's been a while. Since you're familiar with that facility, kind of what's your sort of assessment of, obviously it's had a lot of upgrades, but What
And
do you think the
the-
Sports Authority needs to be looking at regarding that facility?
Well, the various components, major components of the facility have useful lives. Seats as an example.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were replaced. We made recommendations. The lighting standards and the painting and what have you, that's something that comes about periodically. I mean, paint has a useful life also. There are other portions of the stadium, finishes, carpet. I mean, when we walked through the facility, the carpet was worn out. I don't know what the shape is like now, but I think it would be good for the Sports Authority, in my personal opinion, to have a list of all of the major components of the building and their respective useful life, so that you could have, I don't know, a budget for replacing, so that you could have an idea of what the cost would be, that kind of thing. But I think the stadium probably, with the major components being replaced as they should, probably has a much longer life than was expected. I think maybe we're looking at what the owners, NFL owners, look at in terms of replacing stadiums. They will see, well, we need to upgrade because the newest stadium is state-of-the-art, and whatever the condition is then, or the characteristics at that time, we want those. As an example, we looked at the display boards and what have you. They have, I understand they've been updated.
Yeah.
There was a tremendous cost to those. That's state-of-the-art. So if the Titans are keeping up with other teams, they want what's the latest, and that's something that you have to address at the time that it comes up.
Gotcha.
I don't know if I've answered your
No, I think
question.
that's
but-
helpful. I think we've been talking about that facility in terms of current uses and potential future uses, and then those conversations always occur about what is the lifespan and what. And it sounds like the Titans have said they don't want a new stadium, but they do
Want it upgraded.
want it upgraded,
Right.
and kind of
Right.
what that looks like seems it's to be determined.
Right. And I don't know if the Sports Authority has any way of determining what the useful life of those components are. I mean, you have a long list of components, but the major components are what the key concern should be.
Good.
Seats, finishes, even the exterior. I noticed that when we walked through the stadium, I didn't realize it until we walked the facility, that it has a drive-it system on it, cementitious type finish on a portion of it. And someone had dented part of that with a round object. And I was thinking, if these fans really get upset and they find out that they can destroy that, then it would
We're
happen.
publicly, we're on camera.
I think nobody's watching.
I'm just giving you a hard time. You're fine. You're
It's all right.
fine.
Cincinnati fans aren't listening, so we're not going to. That's helpful to know, though. Can I ask one other question about? So there will be a new facility coming under the Sports Authority's guidance, which will be the soccer stadium.
Right.
So, having articulated kind of what you've looked at from current, what other best? You've talked about inventorying for the sort of use of life. Are there other best practices you would want to see implemented on the front end, knowing that there's a new facility coming?
Now, I haven't given any thought to what I would like to see in that regard. But I certainly will start thinking about that.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all I've got.
Thank you. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, motion to approve.
Move to approve.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I'm parked in a few
the lot?
places.
In a few places?
Free place.
Oh, I thought you said a few places. I was like, tell me more about how you park in a few places. You split your car.
Or a quick resolution.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. RS 2020-225 Rosenberg and Syracuse settles the date and time for the 2020 State of the Metro Government Address. Their motion?
Motion, when is that?
That is on Tuesday, March 31st
10 o'clock.
at 10 o'clock
In this very
a.m.
building.
in the Metro, in the chamber.
I'm busy. We're gonna have to amend this.
That is exactly the way it was planned. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
All right,
Wait,
any
where is it
discussion?
again?
Phone just died.
Chamber.
Ah,
All in favor?
Aye.
hi.
Opposed? Okay, and RS 2020-226 approves the election of certain notaries public for Davidson County.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, anything else? Thank you very much. We are adjourned. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have something else?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna change your vote. I'm gonna change my vote, and it's too late.
Okay.
No, you can move to
What do you
reconsider.
I'd like to move to reconsider, please. I want to vote no on Mr. Chapman.
Okay. Anybody have a concern with that happening?
Well, we
Okay.
need a motion to reconsider, right?
Not really. It's a committee. We operate under the committee's rules.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
That would
Any
be
other
the
business?
Rosenberg Rules of Order.
Rules of order. All right, any other discussion? All right, we are adjourned.
Why are we doing this?